set, where them hands, where them holes, where them throws, you know what I'm saying?
So, this video is based on a question I got in a group on Facebook that analyzes and studies Taekwondo. I was going to just put the original question up here, but then I saw it's a private group. So, if it's private, that means it's supposed to be in private. And maybe I don't know why people may want their study to be private or whatever, but that's fine. But what I can do, since the original question is about this exact passage right here, I'm going to show you this passage and talk about it, and I'll read the response that I put on the Facebook group too. So the reason why I'm not giving direct shout outs to the person that asked this question in the group is because it's a private group. And I always like to give credit where credit's due. So let's talk about this passage. This is from the Encyclopedia of Taekwondo, Volume 3. Okay. As mentioned earlier, Taekwondo was designed primarily as a self-defense, and this is the main reason so much emphasis is placed on moral civilization and exactness of technique. In a literal sense, Taekwondo is exactly that, a self-defense. This is why students should concentrate on defense. The defense itself, however, carries out the attacking role at the same time. Thus, the idea of defensive offensive is well coordinated. So if I understood what his question was about this initially, he's basically like, well, what are our thoughts on this? Is General Choi trying to say that the best defense is a good offense? Are we to take it, literally? I mean, how should we look at this passage? Well, here's what I put on the group first, which was more straight and to the point. Okay? I said, I'm going to do a video response to this on my Cecil Ryu Martial Arts YouTube channel because this is an excellent question. But I'll give a brief take here. Basically, I think it means that we should not be seeking to be the aggressors or attackers with our study and practice of Taekwondo. And that's what I think. We should be peacemakers. Now that comes from the Bible. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall inherit the kingdom of God. Meaning we defend against aggression, we do not initiate it. Also, the incoming attack can be countered in many ways. One of which is attacking the body part that's coming to you. And when people think of blocking, a hard block, I'm punching, you hit them on a weak part of the arm. If they're trying to grab you, weak part of the leg, if they're trying to kick you, that type of thing. Another as a deflection or parry. So something's coming at you, parry it, push it out of the way. Another is simply not being there to be hit. You've heard some people say, you've been around the martial arts a lot of times, the best block is no block, the best defense is just not to be there. In fact, if we avoid an attack altogether at just the right time and distance, we can cause our attacker to fall flat on their face without touching the attacker at all. That's something I've done in sparring. Haven't had to do that in a real fight yet. Someone that did that to us first when I told the story of men in the missile kick martial arts interview I did back in the day. That's what he did. We attacked him. It was like he just teleported. He wasn't there. Basically, he was just moving at just the right angles, but we were running to each other. And I've only done that to someone else in sparring. But if we look at Taekwondo as self-defense and implement the tenet of self-control, then we should be doing all we can to not be initiators or escalators of violence, which will reduce and diffuse a lot of potentially violent situations. So, I mean, the only other thing I can really add to that is if you've studied some other types of martial arts that are like karate based, you may hear like there's no first attack in karate. Really, the other point I can add to this is a lot of people feel that whenever you do something difficult or that takes hard work, it builds your character. And that if you have good character and good morals, you're going to be less likely to get into fights with people. If you're less likely to get in fights with people as a civilian, you are going to avoid and diffuse a lot of situations which could become potentially violent. That should be a side effect of studying Taekwondo. That should be the ultimate goal. And what I find in practice is if you do it for long enough, that happens. But a lot of people don't get there. We can become, because we're striking, hitting all the time, we can become, I call it becoming punchy. You just quick to react. You do that in your body, and then I think that can show up, it can show up in your attitude and in your, in your demeanor, in your psychology. But we have to continue further along, further down the road of Taekwondo, because it really should be about ourselves. While we're trying to do that perfect kick, let's say execute the perfect kick. That means when we are kicking metaphorically, not literally, at stuff in our lives, we should try to do it perfectly or try to do the best approach, the best that we can. Now, we're never going to get everything perfectly. We're never going to get it all right. We're going to make mistakes. But the effort, the the path of seeking towards perfection is what's going to get us there, because nobody's perfect. We're all striving. We're all struggling to learn. We're all in this thing. We're all on this ball of earth together, and we should all be trying to move forward. So you hear a lot of Christians say, God's not done with me yet. That's the type of thing I'm talking about. That's the way I take this passage. You can take it literally as somebody grabs you. You can hit hard and knock their hand away. You can push them out the way. You're defending and attacking at the same time. A lot of people like to use what they call preemptive striking, so that if they flinch and look like they're going to move at you, you hit them before they even get a chance to hit you. I don't recommend that for civilians. And I'll just say, depending on where your status is in society versus the status of the person who is attacking you, that might not be the best idea because of how it'll end up looking when you're being filmed. You may want to make it clear in your response, civilian, that when someone's coming at you, you clearly are defending yourself, because the camera may not pick up that body shift that they do before they hit you. The camera, somebody may start recording just at the point where you've laid the attacker flat out. Even though they were asking for it, even though we're yelling and screaming and calling you all kinds of names that any person within reason would think, yeah, I'm about to be attacked, so I don't want to let this person actually get their hands on me. It's a ask that I don't like to ask. I don't even like to ask it of myself, but unfortunately, we don't live in should, we live in is. And if you really go after the ideal of what I think Taekwondo and other martial arts were created to do, I don't think that they would. I think by the time martial arts really became martial arts that were taught to regular people, I don't think that they were just about fighting anymore and hurting people anymore. I think they used the path of the warrior that was one time made for soldier development. People realized the positive values that you can pick up in training to be a soldier would be something that would benefit regular people and benefit our society. And I would say probably particularly with training children. But a lot of us need that tune up as adults too. I know I most certainly need that tune up as an adult from time to time, because I'm still trying to figure it out. So that's my take on this. So it is a self-defense. So you should concentrate on defense. You should concentrate on being a peacemaker. If you want to take a biblical approach, that's why I have a teacher's creed, which is blessed are the peacemakers, for they should be called the children of God. It's not just about the student creed that I have. Blessed be the Lord, my strength, who teaches my hands to war, my fingers to fight. Yeah, I need that for students, because a lot of students coming into the martial arts are timid and are scared to fight and scared to defend themselves at all, because they probably don't have a lot of violence exposure or violence experience. It's a scary thing for them, which I'm glad they have that problem. I'm glad they're not just there to just seek out a fight. And when I get people that I think are like that, they don't last. because I don't feed that. I don't do anything to push them away. I stole this from the voice, I think his name is Roy and Gracie or Royce Gracie. I'm sorry, I'm butchering the name. The Gracies. I stole this from the Gracies YouTube channel, this idea. And that's you set the tone and the environment of what you want your club or studio to be, your class to be. And if they're not a fit, they're not going to stay because it's not for them. You don't have to be on a soapbox. You just put out the vibe that you want and you do your best to portray what you want and what you want people to achieve. And if they win it, they win it. If they're not, they're not. So that's my take on this. Taekwondo is a self-defense. Control yourself. Really defend yourself. Don't go out there looking for trouble, And that I think is going to take care of most situations that you're going to have as a civilian. It's not a guarantee. There are no guarantees. Nothing always, absolutely always works all the time that we do. Well, there's one thing, but I'm not trying to make this a religious channel, in my opinion. But these tactics that we use, there's no perfect technique. We can, though, reduce the amount of violence that we're in by awareness, by talking, watching how we carry ourselves, and the places that we stay in, and the people we associate with, and the decisions that we make. Okay. Thanks for watching this video. Like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate it. So people like to talk about the martial arts. Peace, and as always, thank you for your time. I appreciate it.